And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Sporting160EN episode number 94. Today we have a special podcast. We have a special guest, our TIGAS from Sporting160. He does all the modalities. He's the expert, the guru of the modalities. TIGAS, welcome to our podcast. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, guys. Thank you for the invitation. How are you all?
We're all doing great, buddy. All doing great. So I'm going to introduce you to the rest of the panel. Chris from Philly. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great, man. As you can see, I got my Buffalo Bills jerseys behind me. Feeling pretty excited after this weekend and going forward. But obviously, Sporting didn't really help the overall mood. Could have been the perfect weekend. Ended up just being a so pretty good weekend because we didn't get the 3 points against Rio Ave and really taking advantage of the draw in the other game. But I guess as we'll discuss, it could have been a lot worse because the other two drew, so we just stayed the same.
Yeah, I feel you, brother. I was equally upset, believe me. Last but not least, we have our one and only Sam from all the way to UK. How you doing, buds?
I'm okay. I'm wearing this top, which I got around 3 years ago when I was a lot skinnier than I am now. Thanks to the lockdown, I put on a bit of weight. So it's a lot tighter than it usually is. But other than that, it was a poor weekend in terms of football. But I'm glad to be here speaking with you guys, and especially Tigas. Welcome to the podcast. I hope you enjoy your first time on the Sporting160EN podcast.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's move on. So the topics for today, obviously, it's going to be the Sporting Rio Ave 1-1 disappointing tie at home, which we should have won, but we couldn't deliver it. Then after that, we'll go into a little bit of Tigas on a personal basis. Then we'll talk about the Taça da Liga against Football Club do Porto's Corrupts. I mean, Football Club Porto, my mistake. And then we'll talk about the transfers. There's some movement going on, finally. And last but not least, we'll talk about the predictions against Boavista as well for the Liga NOS, which would be round 15. So without any further delays, let's talk about the Sporting Rio Ave. The starting lineup was with António Adam, Eduardo Quaresma, Christian Borja, Sebastián Coates, Nuno Santos, Pedro Porro, João Palhinha, João Mário, Tiago Tomás, Pote, and Gonçalo Plata. So I'm gonna go with Tigas first. Tigas, what did you think about the game at home against Rio Ave? And were you disappointed?
Well, first of all, let me thank you for the invitation. I was a bit surprised, but I'm very pleased to be here. I have a lot of respect for people who support Sporting and are so far away from Lisbon. So you got my respect for that. As for the game, I didn't like it. I think you didn't like it either. So I didn't like the exhibition. I didn't like the result. We could have won and played bad, but I would be happy. Mainly, I would have liked won in the game. So I didn't like the exhibition. I think we had a lot of difficulty breaking the defensive lines of Rio Ave. And I think Ruben Amorim could have changed some things, especially after Rio Ave goal. I think he was afraid of losing the game, and he wasn't very ambitious.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. And Chris, I'll pass it back to you. So, what did you think of the game? Were you content, disappointed, or you thought that Ruben Amorim could have done better?
I mean, obviously, I thought the first half was a lot better, but the second half was really, really low level, not attacking enough. We did just sit back a lot. Rio Ave dominated the play. This Rio Ave team this year isn't even that good, and I feel like we made them look a lot better than we should have. It was obviously super, super frustrating in the moment, and it felt like a loss in real time. But after the other draw, it kind of felt a little bit better. Plus, Braga lost, so if anything, we gained a little ground, or all three gained a 1 point on Braga. But yeah, what a wasted opportunity to really open this up to 6 points. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just it was super frustrating. It's frustrating, even more frustrating now to learn that Nuno Mendes could have played, because it was another game of Gonzalo Plata at wingback. This time on the other side, on the left side, which I didn't love him on the right or the left. Would have been nice to have our normal left back, but yeah, I mean, I guess it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I agree. So, Sam, back to you. So, give me a quick recap of the game.
It was at first viewing not the best. Gonzalo Plata at left back is always really confusing for me. Especially when we bought Antunes in the summer. I know he's not supposed to be amazing, but surely playing a left back in his position is better than playing Plata out of position. Quaresma was really disappointing for me. I thought he was okay in the first half, but then his performance dropped massively. And if that's the way he plays, I can sort of see why he's not being picked by Amorim. And I don't know what happened to him, because he was really good over the summer. I saw a lot of outrage for Borja as well on that goal. I thought he was unlucky with it, but he also could have done better. And of course, it had to be the three sporting players linking up, former sporting players in Chico Gerald and then Carlos Mane and Gelson Dalla to score. But I think there's a lot of outrage, and I don't think it's all warranted, considering we were out with our best striker, our two main centre backs, and then Nuno Mendes, who is arguably our best left back and best creator. And I'm just looking at the stats here that I took earlier. We had 68% possession, 14 total shots versus their 6. We had 13 chances created in total, 503 accurate passes, and 274 in the opponent's half. And we had 4 shots on target. We should have been better creatively, but we couldn't do much with Thiago Tomas. You've got to remember, he's still 18. He's not a veteran like a Sporar or like a Dost or any of the strikers we've had before. And we've got to remember, we're not out of the title race yet. Porto have only drawn 1 less game than us, and they've lost twice. We haven't lost yet and only drawn 3 times. We're not out of the title race by any means, and I still have 100% faith in Ruben Amorim.
That's a good point, Sam. I'm glad you brought it up. And yes, we still have a 4-point lead over Football Club Porto and Sporting Lisboa Benfica. So that's significant. If we had that last year, we would have been very happy. So let's be content at this point in time of the league. Okay, so I have a couple tough questions for you guys. So a couple questions from Twitter. The first one is from Ship, from Lauren. She said, note, AQ, people, chill out about the recent bad run. Not every performance will be perfect or a 4-0 win. The early season form wasn't gonna last forever. Now isn't the time to panic or be negative. Still 4 clear, with lots to play for. Sporting, top of the league. So she kind of reinforces what Sam just said. Mm-hmm. And then we have TIGAS. He said, see you tomorrow, and he's here today. So that's good. Bragança should play more, from Mundo Leão. He's saying, should Bragança play more? So, TIGAS, I'll pass that to you.
I asked him back, who would he take out of the starting 11 to put Daniel Bragança in?
Okay, that's a good question.
So, let me just go back a little bit. I don't think we are fighting with the same weapons than our rivals. Okay? I think we are going to a war with a bayonet, and they have machine guns. You look at Benfica and Porto bench on the Classic. Porto had Felipe Anderson, Tony Martinez, and Evan Nilsson. Benfica had Pedrinho, Walt Schmidt, and Chiquinho. And Everton. Who do we have on our bench? Pedro Marques?
Antunes.
So I don't think we should panic. Okay, we had 2 bad exhibitions, 2 bad results in Madeira, and now in home against Rio Ave. I think Sporting was getting us used to win games and be on the top of the league, something that we weren't used to. So I think that's why we are a bit disappointed from this draw, because it was an important an important game because our rivals were facing each other. One or both of them would lose points, so it was important to make the gap even bigger. I don't think everybody's panic. I think everybody's just a little bit disappointed because what I said was, like they said, Sporting was getting us used to win, and now we lost. We lost 2 points. So about Bragança, I think he should play more coming off the bench, especially in these games that we can't break the lines. We need somebody more creative who can do some passes between the lines, more vertical, can find some ways that other guys can. We can always rely on João Mário. Sometimes we need another guy to do that. So Daniel Bragança could play more, but coming from the bench, not on the starting 11.
I agree 100%. Like, for example, against Marítimo, the Taça Portugal, I thought Bragança should have started since João Mário didn't, because he's more creative and he would have been a normal substitution to João Mário. Okay, so Mundo de Leão.
I agree.
And Denny, welcome to the podcast, Denny. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad I'm on. TIGAS, glad to have you on, man. Pleasure meeting you as well here. Hi, sorry I'm a little late, guys. Work got in the way a bit.
Okay, so Mundo Leão also said, TIGAS, queremos ver o rabo das modalidades.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants me to do a rap while I do my... I don't know how you say it in English. Resume?
No, it's
resume. Recap.
Recap.
Yeah.
Recap. Okay, recap. Yeah, right. He wants me to do a rap while I do the recap. So I'm not I'm not a good lyrics guy, so I don't think that's going to happen. But I'll try. If somebody wants to do the lyrics, then I'll do it.
Hey, the way you do modalidades, it sounds like rap. So, you know. So from Christopher Sly, he says, if other teams continue to defend the way Marítimo and Rio Ave have, will this affect our chances of winning games? And if so, how should the Mourinho change things up tactically? Chris, to you.
Yeah, I think that's a good question and definitely a cause for concern, right? Is that all it takes to take points off of us that easily? Just be relatively organized defensively, and have like some sort of attacking threat. For Marítimo, it was a couple of players up top. For Rio Ave, it was our former players were their attacking threat mostly. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely. I hope that we learn to adjust to this, because yeah, it is 2 games in a row where just we dropped points or been knocked out and then dropped points because the other team was just pretty organized and we didn't have enough to break it down. Yeah, and I think that just these 2 games definitely solidify the need for a number 9 in the transfer window. I feel like Mourinho is begging for him, right? He alternates between Sporad and Tomas. He does what he can. Sometimes he puts Jovan, but it's like it's cruel and unusual that they don't give this guy his signing. And January 18th, right? It feels like we blinked in the like half the window's over. So I hope they hurry up on that one.
I agree with you. So I'm going to pass it on to Danny. Danny just came to the show. So Danny, give me your 2 cents about the game, the tie at home against Rio Ave, which to me personally was pretty much. I had a hard time to take it, losing 2 points at home, which we should have won easily against a team. And I'm going to remind everybody, they 10th place in the Liga NOS. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah. I think I was listening just a bit. I think Christian mentioned that this isn't the same Rio Ave as last year. You know, they're struggling a bit. Honestly, it's more annoying. I think most fans feel this way. It's more annoying because it's Sporting ser o Sporting, right? Like a perfect opportunity. We have 2 rivals going up against each other. Either one or both are going to lose points. Of course, you know, we only knew a few days after, but Braga was facing Paços Ferreira, which is a tough game. Paços this year is is a really strong team. So it's just frustrating to see that we got the draw, and didn't push ourselves just a little bit more of a cushion. Mind you, there's still a long way to go. So, whether it's 6 points or 4 points, it might not even make a difference. But, of course, every point counts, right? The game itself, I mean, that first half, especially towards the end of that first half, the fact that we didn't score 2 or 3 to really put the game into the bed was really the sad point for me. And then, of course, typical Sporting, if it's not Wilson Eduardo, it's Gelson Dalla, it's Chic Geraldo, Carlos Mené. Of course, they're the ones that conjure the goal against us.
I, by the way, hated Geraldo's game. I thought he played pretty poorly, and that pass was great, but Dalla had a good game. I didn't think Geraldo had a good game, but obviously...
No, Geraldo didn't have... I agree. He didn't have a great game.
He was there in the critical moment, though.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, it's another one of those games where we've seen this month where we deserve to win, and we didn't. But at least we didn't lose. Other years we maybe would have lost this game, so I'll take that as a positive.
I agree. The only thing I'm gonna just say a couple things. I won't say much at all, but the only thing that upset me the most, who could have been up 6 points to Football Club dos Corruptos and Sporting Lisboa, Benfica vouchers, and 11 from Sporting Braga, ex-filial do Sporting, but we're not now. So it kind of sucks. Yeah. So Sporting Club de Braga, they were filial do Sporting. I don't know if you guys know that.
No, I know.
Yeah. So that's why they should be moved the name Sporting de Braga. It should be Braga by itself. So let's move on. So this one is for Tiga. Minute number 7, Gonçalo Plata was shown a yellow card. Was that justified?
No, absolutely not.
I thought so too. I think the referee, o Malheiro, só sabe malhar, he was a little bit rough. Yeah, I agree. Danny, I'm gonna go across the board. João Mario, on the 24th minute, he was shown a yellow card for Geraldo. Was that justified?
I'm honest, I can't remember that right now. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Were you
the elbow?
I was at work watching this game, so I only seen bits and pieces.
Do you remember Sam or Chris?
If it was like the forearm or the elbow to the face, then
yes.
If that's the one, then yeah, it's harsh, but in the rules it's a yellow card. Always sometimes even a red, but I'd say that one was justified.
Okay, I feel the same way. Minute 44, though, TT almost scored. So, Chris, how do you feel about the save from the goal from Rio Ave?
I'm on mute. Sorry. Was this the save where he got pretty low to it?
Yeah, he saved it with his left
arm.
Oh,
yeah. This was honestly, this is a great fucking save. I mean, that ball's going in the bottom corner. He got down for it. Yeah, that was a great save, to be honest.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to TIGAS. How much disappointed were you when Nunes inside the box, almost inside the small box? He had a great chance to score and he missed it on the minute 47th.
Man, I screamed here at home. I was alone. I was at work. My kids weren't at home, so I screamed. Yeah, I'm very disappointed. I was expecting a goal there.
Yeah, me too. It was so close to the goal.
And Nuno is a guy who appears very good on the finishing zones. Okay, he's a good finisher. He's not a striker, but he's a good finisher. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed.
Okay, so we saw the second half. The first 10 minutes, we kind of dominated. Not create a lot of chances of goal, but we dominated. And then minute 61st, goal to the Dalla Rio Ave. Who's to blame for it, Danny? Who's to blame for it? Tell me the truth. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell me how you feel it.
There's I think two at fault. There's Christian Borja first. Doesn't close down Carlos Mené very well first. And then also lets the ball go through. He also throws a temper tantrum right after the goal goes through. I'm not sure why, unless it's against himself. And then it's either Coates or Quaresma, whoever, I can't remember who wasn't the one that didn't mark Dalla, because Dalla just had a free goal, really. We can maybe put a bit of blame to Dan for not coming off his net fast enough, but I wouldn't personally. I'd say Borja and whoever that other central defender was that didn't mark Dala really.
And Quaresma. If
Quaresma, yeah.
If Quaresma stretched his leg, you would have cut the pass to Carlos Mané.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
and the play died there.
Yeah. I agree. I agree with TIGAS. Quaresma had a very bad second half. The first half he was okay. The second half he was a disaster.
Yeah.
Chris, back to you on the 65th minute. The foul on TT. Was that a yellow card on Cointran or no?
Trying to recall this moment. It was a Quintrao incident.
Yeah. Why is it significant? It would have been his second yellow card.
Yeah, I thought Quintrao was skating on thin ice the whole game. I honestly thought he was going to do us a favor and get himself sent off, and it would have been like, thank you, Quintrao, for your service to us one last time. But no. Yeah, I honestly, I don't remember exactly this moment, but I will say that I am shocked that I'm shocked, but I'm also not shocked that he lasted all 90 minutes in this game.
Okay. So the next one will be on the 66th minute, Sam. This one is for you. Chance missed by putt. Remember that?
Yeah. I was at work watching this, so I couldn't do a lot of the normal shouting and screaming. But I just think in general we really were awful at finishing our chances, and especially part of the first half of the season that goes in 100%. But I think it's frustrating because it's a rookie errors and bad shooting and bad finishing which cost us. But I'm not a professional footballer. I probably wouldn't have been able to score that. But from a player of Pot's ability, he should have scored that, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now coming back to TIGAS, this is the biggest call, and to me it's no. But I'll let TIGAS go into detail. Was it a PK on Coates on minute 85th?
What was that?
O penalti do Coates, 85.
I don't remember. I was at home, like I said, alone. But some parts of the game, my stream was freezing.
This is such I don't think this isn't even a real PK shout, to be honest. It's like
I haven't watched that again.
It's like a lance that happens in any game. It's they haven't called it all season, to be honest. That they weren't going to start today.
But it was a pushed. Was Coates pushed?
He was in between two, one in
between
front,
two.
one
Okay,
behind.
okay.
Yeah. So for me, Coates does that a lot at the end of games. He likes to flop, and I think the referees know that he does that. So if it were to happen, they sort of know, okay, it's Coates. He's doing it again. But I don't think it was a penalty. No.
Danny.
I'm actually rewatching it right now. Is it the one where he gets sandwiched, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, it's tough because all of them kind of go up for the ball for it.
And who pushed him? Can you see?
Let me see. I'm seeing now.
It was Cointreau, wasn't it?
Yes. Again.
Yeah, no, Quintrao was right there.
Again.
Yeah.
Side note, have we talked
Quintrao
about
knows a lot. Quintrao knows a lot.
Muita experiencia.
Have we talked about the two hugging just towards as they slid in together and they hug? No, we haven't mentioned that. I just want the ladies to know I want to be held like that in 2021.
I love that photo, honestly. That was such a good photo.
But yeah, I get it definitely could be a penalty. I see it now. Quintrau's sort of like on his back, like jumping as his arm is on Coates' back. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'd take that. Obviously, it could be a penalty.
Coates,
but yeah,
like Sam said, I think Coates is building up. Because every time we do this, it's always Coates, right? This is the third or fourth time this season, all uncalled. Coat's like PK incidents.
Always in like the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
as well,
always
like,
in the last 5 minutes.
Just falls
He's
down.
always there on the last 5 minutes when you are not winning. He always goes
Yeah,
to the striker
and he plays
position,
center
and we
forward,
cross the ball to him. So I think it's normal to be him involved in
Yeah.
these situations.
Yeah.
I agree. And then the last one I have for you guys, which I'll pass it on to Danny. Tabat, he got a yellow card on the 87th minute. Does it make sense?
If I can remember it, honestly, I can't. You might as well pass it to somebody else. I have no idea if that was that yellow one.
Chris, Sam, Tigas, anybody remember that play?
I don't remember that play. I was watching the highlights now, and the highlights from V Sports doesn't have the Coates incident.
The PK?
It's on.
Yeah.
You have to go on the website. It's Outro Lance, and then they have all of that there.
Oh, okay.
Nos casos. But aside, yeah, I don't know the 87th, the one with Tabata.
So
The only one I can think of, sorry to interrupt, is that last challenge on Jovan that I can't remember what the Rio Ave name was, but it got injured and apparently tore his ligaments in the process. In like the 90, I think there was 4 minutes at a time, so it must have been like the 93rd or the 94th, just as he made the foul.
Andre Pereira.
That's it. Yeah. So he needs surgery. It's been confirmed on his ligaments.
Oh, that's
so.
Why are you smiling, Sam?
I mean, karma comes around. You see. No, I'm joking. But I don't know.
Isn't he a Porto player? Loan from Porto.
Yeah.
Andre Pereira.
Yeah.
Striker.
Yeah. I remember him.
Yeah, that's a good call, Tigas. So, coming back to Tigas, do you think that not having Neto, Fedal, and Nuno Mendes was a factor to this, and Sporar was a factor to this game?
Well, I think Fedal and Neto would have helped the defense. I don't know if we have suffered that goal with Neto and Fedal on the defense. Sporar could have changed something coming from the bench because we needed another presence on the area. Probably we would have given us more options, especially Nuno Mendes. Yeah, Nuno Mendes was the most important.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Plata didn't did a good game now.
No, he was average, but you can see struggles to play fullback. He's not.
I should have taken him a halftime.
Yeah.
Ruben Amorim should have. I agree with you 100%. Okay, so any more comments about this game before I switch it to Taça da Liga?
I'm curious why Antunes didn't take over Nuno Mendes' spot. I know there was a lot of talk of Antunes when he first arrived, but the few cameos we've seen of him, he's played well. Clearly defends way better than Plata. Plata to me should be playing, where Tabata or Nuno Santos, the more forward positions on the wings. Aside from
I'm trying to think as well. Why would he not play someone like Borja on the left back in his natural position? Then an Ignacio, or was it João Silva that was on the bench? Is that his name? There was another centre back from the B team. I mean, all of those seem like better options than playing someone out of position. But I agree with you. I don't know what Antunes has done. I know Amorim is a bit like really training orientated. If you don't show up, he's not going to pick you. So maybe that's it. But apparently, Antunes is in the peak physical condition when he signed. So
this was our bench: Gonçalo Inácio, Daniel Bragança, Luís Massimiliano, Vitorino Antunes, Tabat, Pedro Marques, João Pedro Antunes da Silva, Mateus Luís Nunes e Giovanni Borges. That was our bench.
Mm-hmm.
I think Borja and Antunes have some similarities. They both defend better than attack, and I think Ruben Amorim wants his not his wings, his left backs to attack, his right and left backs to attack a lot, and they force the wings to come inside and cut inside. So I don't think Borja and Antunes would have given them that. I think Nuno Santos would have been a better choice there. Probably with Tabata from the beginning and Pote on the left. I don't know. We are talking after the game, right? So
Of course.
Yeah.
But that's a better shout. I think Nuno Santos definitely defends better than Plata. That's for sure.
Yeah.
He did a great season back there in Rio Ave
Yeah, exactly.
on that position.
Yeah.
Well, Bob Pont from our chat, he brings a good point. He says, what's the point of Antunes, who's older than Coentrão, getting signed if he doesn't play?
Yeah.
To add into the confusion we just brought up. It's I was equally disappointed. Okay, so let's flip to Taça da Liga. Taça da Liga, apparently it'll be against Futebol Clube dos Corruptos. Now, I mean, I'll never forget the 80s and the 90s. I'll never forget that. I know Portuguese wants us to forget it, but I'll never forget
How old are you, Steph? You're the older of you four?
Yeah, 48 anos.
Are you older than me?
Yeah, eu lembro-me perfeitamente o apito. Now, they bitching about Nuno Mendes and Sporar being able to play because apparently the lab in Portugal fucked up and the COVID-19 testing was negative. So the director of Football Club Porto, Marques, is bitching like a little bitch. And he's saying that...
as per usual.
As per usual.
Yeah, that's per usual. And he's saying that's a public threat that these two players, if they play, Porto possibly will not play. Are they afraid of us? Are they afraid of Nuno Mendes and Sporar? Is that what Porto is saying? They're a bunch of pussies and afraid of Sporar and Nuno Mendes? Danny, what do you think?
I think so, and they should be. Sporting are a lot better with Nuno Mendes than without him, that's for sure. Especially Nuno Mendes. Listen, I don't know everything in terms of the COVID regulations. They might have a reason to complain. If you can get a positive wrong, can you get a negative wrong? Do you still have to stay in confinement or in confinement for 10 days? I don't know exactly the laws, so I can't really. It's not really my place to step in and say. But if they're negative and they don't have COVID, yes, they're afraid. They're bringing this up because they are afraid, and because they've been hit also just as hard with COVID, with Otavio being out for them, and now 3 cases with Oliveira, and whoever the other 2 were. So I can see their frustration. I can see why they're whining.
But I'm going to tell you something that maybe you guys don't know. Sporting did everything by protocol. I mean, I can be super negative about Frederico Varandas, but one thing I got to tell, he follows the protocol. And in Portugal, you have to get in touch with the DGS. The DGS, if you guys know what it means Direção Geral de Saúde. Sporting went through them, and they cleared it with them. Are they good to go? And they said yes. So if Porto has to bitch about somebody, it's not to Sporting, but it's DGS. It's clear like water, and that's what upsets me about clubs like Porto, which they know better. You want to complain, fine, but go complain to Direção Geral de Saúde. Don't complain to Sporting, because it was not. Sporting would never say, Nuno Mendes e Sporar agora podem jogar. It's not up to Sporting. It's up to DGS, and DGS gave the green light to Sporting, and that's why they announced it. So. In capital letters, fuck you, Football Club Porto. Anyway,
yeah. If that's the case, then I don't see why. I don't understand why they're complaining then.
Because that's all they do.
That's what they were born to do.
You have a similar case here in Portugal. The president Marcelo tested positive, and then he did a second test, and he tested negative, and then he went to the debates.
Wow.
He didn't stay 10 days in isolation. So
Fiz campanha. Yeah.
Same thing here. Yeah. Otavio tested positive for Porto, and Porto played 2 days later against Benfica.
Yeah, very true.
There it is.
Very true. That's very hypocritical.
If he was training with the other guys and tested positive, weren't they? Should have been in isolation also.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. The rules are very. They're not. You can't follow. I mean, to do what they're doing, you got to break the rules somewhat, right? They're traveling, so.
And Sporting, once again, they followed the rules. They went through DGS, which they had the identity in Portugal to make the decision making, and they said yes, they're able to play. It was not Frederic Varandas saying, "Oh yeah, I want them to play." No, it was clear.
You can't go you can't do anything without TIGAS knowing, because if a test is positive, wherever you do it, either it's a public institution or a private institution, the institution will communicate to TIGAS.
Exactly.
Okay, it's not you; it's the institution where you do the test. So
exactly, yeah, the tests are being done by DGS. Am I right, Tigas?
I think so.
Yeah, there it is. So Porto, on the other hand, they have 4 infected players: Otávio, Sergio Oliveira, Luis Diaz, and Ivan Nilsson. Do you think we have the upper hand because of that, Chris?
I wouldn't say that we have the upper hand necessarily. I think that both teams probably view this competition in a secondary way. I think both we're already planning to rotate the teams slightly, plus the rotations that are going to happen because of COVID. I mean, Luis Diaz, Sergio Oliveira, who else? Ivan Nilsson and Otávio. Yeah, I mean those are critical players for Porto, to be honest, to be losing, especially if it goes to PKs because of a draw. Sergio Oliveira is their PK guy, so I feel like this game will probably go to PKs.
If it goes to PKs, can we put in Renan, or how does this work?
I mean, I think we gotta really take advantage of him, having him for if he's not in Greece or Brazil by then. Yeah, so I mean, I think that the teams are going to be slightly rotated. The hands are going to be forced to rotate slightly already. So yeah, I think that I don't know who has a deeper bench. Who do you like, the rotated Sporting team or the rotated Porto team? I think it's gonna be a lottery, to be honest. It's tough to predict.
Okay. So let's talk about anything else about the Taça da Liga to anybody.
probably
I'll go if you don't mind. I'll just say quickly. I know I think it was Chris or Danny that said it's a secondary competition, and I agree. But if we go back to October or November, when we last played each other, there was a war of words between Peter da Costa and Varandas. Now, I think both of them will be looking to get one over on each other, and therefore will be telling their respective managers, Conceição and Amorim, that if you don't win, there's going to be repercussions. Nothing strong, but just is going to be unhappy. And I think for that reason, I definitely think it's going to be there. Every team is going to go all out. And I think especially if what Porto are saying and they're bitching and moaning already, it's going to be so much better if we beat them and they're left. I saw it in the comments with egg on their faces. But I think both teams, just because of the last game, especially like with Zaidu and Pot and everything that went on, there's going to be some. I think there's going to be some yellow cards and maybe some reds flying around.
I agree. So,
let me can I say something?
Yeah, I was about to put you on the spot. So, but go ahead.
No, just to complement what Sam had to say. And we are seeing this now. This communication from Porto about the COVID tests. This is the backstage of the games. No, this is the pressure that every club does on these big games to try to take some advantage of it. And probably this is a game where Porto and Sporting are going to rotate some players, and maybe it's a good chance for Daniel Bragança to play in the starting 11.
I agree. So, and that was my following question. I'll start with Danny right on top. So, with the Taça da Liga game against Porto tomorrow, would you start with your A team or with the modified team?
A few modifications, but my A team. Sporting's not playing anything else. Taça da Liga, it's Taça da Liga, sure, but at the same time, it brings you a lot of confidence. You can argue Mourinho wouldn't have half the success if his teams didn't believe in him right after winning their league cups, like he did in Chelsea and all of that. I think it's important for us to at least make the final, because if we're gonna seriously challenge for the title this year, we have to have some sort of confidence. And if we enter at least the second half of the season campeões de inverno, it's a lot better than losing to one of our rivals, right? So I mean, yeah. What else? What are we gonna save our players for? Europa League in February, Taça Portugal in February. No, might as well go for it.
And your prediction?
Listen, I'll take responsibility for the last 2 losses because every time I wore this red shirt and a red blazer, I know, we've won every time I've worn it to work. The last 2 games, I didn't wear it. We lost and we tied. Tomorrow, don't you worry, guys. I'm going to wear it. Sporting 2, Porto 1.
Okay. Chris.
Já fica dito.
Já tá dito, pá. Chris, back to you.
I think the only question really in my mind, I think, you rotate the COVID guys and you rotate maybe give our guy Antunes, give our guy Bragança some minutes. But yeah, outside of that, no crazy changes. I think Max Sedan is the main question. Like, who honestly, who do you think's better at PKs? I feel like Max has never really struck me as a particular PK guy, but I've seen Adan come up with one. So honestly, I wish we could get Max minutes, and I think he might play, to be honest. But to be honest, I think I'd rather have Renan because I think this is going to a shootout.
Okay. Sam.
1-1 regulation and then
1-1 regulation, shootout, we're winning PKs. I like that. Sam.
I sort of would like to play the A team as well, but what Chris said, I think I'd prefer to see Max. I feel like his progression is stalling a bit because Adan has been playing very well and has been very consistent. I would like to see Inácio get some minutes as well, and maybe Bragança or Matheus Nunes as well. But to agree with the other two, I think it's going to go into penalties, but I think it's going to be a rough 0-0 with a few yellow cards and maybe a red for Porto. I'm not sure if Pepe's suspended or whatever, but Pepe is definitely going to get a red card for doing some stupid, crazy shit because that's what Pepe does. But I'm going to go 0-0, but Sporting to win on penalties.
Okay, I like that. So I'm going to say that Sporting will win 2-0 against Football Clubs Corrupts, and then
You're very confident.
Yeah, and then we'll win against either Benfica. I'm confused. Every time I say Sporting, Benfica, Sporting Lisboa, Benfica, I'm thinking about 2 clubs. I don't know, because that's why there's the E in the middle, no? Na verdade. Porque se fosse só clube, dizia Sporting, Lisboa, Benfica. But there's the E in the middle, which means it's 2 clubs. I get confused. I'm sorry. So I don't know which clubs we're playing. But anyway, regardless of that, if we play Benfica B, Sporting de Braga, Filial, Sporting antigamente, or Sporting E, Benfica, we'll win anyway.
Let's get there first, though. Let's get
there first. Transfers. We have Renan, Bruno, Gaspar, Christovski, Ilori, Bruno.
I don't think we have Ristovski.
I know.
Ristovski take all of Sporting things from the Instagram.
I hope so.
So I don't think we have Ristovski.
I hope so. And Camacho. Now, Diaby, from what I understand, he signed for Anderlecht
today.
Sam, why don't you talk about that? Because I think you posted that on Twitter.
Which one? The Diaby one or the 7 or the 5? However many players it was.
Diaby.
I mean, that is probably Verandas' worst signing. I think it might have been his record signing, 7 million euros. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 7 million euros.
4.5.
Was it 4.5?
Yeah.
I thought it was 7.
4. I don't think it was 7.
7 was Sporar. That's what you're thinking of.
Oh, okay. Yep, you're right. So 4 million. I think the season before he was one of the top goal scorers in Belgium. So it's difficult. He's not just some rat. Oh, yeah.
Also, sorry. I think now that I'm remembering, I think Diaby was Sousa Sintra, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Diaby was Sousa Sintra.
I don't think it was Verandas.
Sorry, Verandas. It was the worst one, Sousa Sintra.
The fastest
don't apologize, please.
And that's it. And that's the last I'll defend Verandas.
But yeah. So I mean, going back to where he made his name, really. I assume he didn't do very well. I think it was Getafe. Otherwise, they wouldn't have let him go. But I mean, good luck to him. I don't like him. I don't rate him. But if he goes for good, then and we get a few million out of him, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna come back to TIGAS. So do you think we should keep Ilori?
What kind of
Wait,
question is
Steph.
that?
Now,
Please,
now
come
say
on.
that. Say that with a straight face, now, Steph.
You think we should keep Ilori?
I'm dead.
I can't. So even
can't
Better
answer
question.
that.
Do you think we'll get rid of Villotti? Is the better question.
we won't.
That's the question. That's $1 million question.
Yeah.
How can we get rid of Ilori?
We won't. Aquele gajo
I feel like every day the news, or every couple days, the news is the exact same. It lists the players you just listed, right? Bruno Gaspar, Ilori, Camacho, Lumor, all these guys that they can't get rid of. They cost like $8 million in salary every year.
I know.
The news is like, oh, they're about to get rid of them. Oh, they're getting and nothing ever changes, right? Nothing's getting like there's until something seriously develops. They're just gonna sit on these contracts until they run out or they rescind them. No club is paying money for any of them.
I'm not gonna blame the players, but I gotta tell you something. If you have a chance to go to the MLS, like Ilori had a chance to go to the MLS for a whole year, and he said no. To me, it's I get it. It's an option because we made the mistake of signing him, but he has no conscience of what's going on at Sporting when 20 people are laid off. You should have also a conscience and say, you know what, I have an option to go to another league in America, which the COVID-19 is more or less being controlled somewhat somehow. It's not perfect. No way it's perfect. But he didn't want to make the move because he's selfish, and that bothers me a little. Same thing with Lumor. He could go to Rio Ave, but I think he wants to make money, and he's not willing to lose money. And I get it, but anyway,
I don't like players who like to sit on the bench and not being on the bench, refusing an opportunity to play on another team.
I agree.
It's usual for teams, for players who don't play a lot, wanting to play more and wanting to get out to play more. Ilori is not that.
Yeah,
he's not that guy.
And I agree with TIGAS. The thing is, my argument is the following: if Camacho is playing the B team, why isn't Bruno Gaspar, Renan, Ilori, Bruno Paulista playing the B team as well?
Because they're too old and they think that they're too good for that.
It's not up to them. We're paying them. They should just play.
Camacho is young enough, and I think that I guess he probably still wants to get into the team, right? Or he thinks that he has some chance of getting into the team. Bruno Gaspar doesn't want to get into the team, nor does he think he has any chance of getting into the team. They haven't had a right back all season. He's been sitting there. They could have had him at any point over the last 6 months. They've literally not. They'd rather have no one than have him. So I think that
they'd rather have Plata. They'd rather have Plata on the right side.
Yeah,
he's probably the most valuable one. I know valuable is a strong word, but he's got age on his side. I think he's only like 21, 22. He's played in a lot of different positions for his career. He's played under Jurgen Klopp. I mean, he's still got a bit of value. So I think that's the reason he's still playing. But whether anyone will take it up is another story.
Yeah.
Well, but if I'm paying someone, if I own my own company and you are my employees, some of you will perform at a high level and some at a lower level. So I might give you a better jobs to you, Denny, than to Sam if he's not performing as well. My take on it with Sporting players, it shouldn't be up to them to say, eu não quero jogar na equipa B. If we're paying you, if I'm telling you you're going to play in the B team, you're going to play in the B team. But Ilori, what is he doing? He's using Sporting Academy Sporting like a gym, a personal gym. Vai lá, faz o workout e vai para casa. Olha, assim também eu, caralho.
You have to remember that Ilori, with Bruno Carvalho, I think, said he'd rather sit on the bench for 1 year without playing than renewing the contract.
I remember. I
And you
remember.
had Camacho when we hired him saying he didn't want to play on the wing, on the right back.
Back, yeah.
He was a winger. I am a winger. So
Yeah, he's a real piece of shit. Not even a
we
winger.
were warned by the players.
Yeah.
And we hired him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we can only blame
Exactly.
ourselves. No one's made us
Yeah.
sign Lodi
I
to a
agree.
1.4 million euro a year
I-
contract. That
I
is
agree.
only the fault of our own, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
agree.
But then this fucked up Anouk Vienna by when they signing Ilori, the biggest piece of shit on Sporting, and I can't believe he's still at Sporting. I mean, I would like to forget he's at Sporting, but he still is at Sporting. Even Il Fernandes going to Almeria, was that a good move, Tigas?
Who? I'm sorry?
Even Il Fernandes.
Yeah, he gets to play in a competitive league. Maybe he can show himself like Domingos Duarte is doing. I think it's good for him, and it may be good for us, Sporting.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay,
It's
guys.
better than playing on the second league here.
Yeah, the second league in Spain is better than ours. I agree.
Yeah, but they have more visibility.
Much more. Yeah.
And Sporting
if you
plays in the
go-
third division too, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
much better than the third division.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, guys? Any more news about the transfers? Did I miss anything? Or?
Just Mateus Reis coming in again. Still that. Paulinho
Plata.
didn't play. Oh yeah, sorry. Plata for Rio Ave. Paulinho didn't play 2 games for Braga. I kind of want to know your guys' opinion on that. Sorry, Sam.
No. Sorry. I'll go. About Paulinho, did you say not playing for? Braga?
Yeah. Is he coming?
I think it's all a big ploy by Braga. I think they're trying to mess with us. I think he might have something wrong with him. But I mean, I'm a Sporting fan and I love them very much. But why would Paulinho leave? Like, I mean, maybe for money, but do we have that much more money than Braga to pay in wages? I mean, obviously, I'd love him here, but from his standpoint, does it make a lot of sense? But that's not for me to decide. But obviously, I'd love him to come here.
Tigas,
I think
I'm wondering your opinion. Yeah.
I
Sorry.
think Paulinho has everything set with Sporting, and the clubs are still negotiating. And I think Ruben Amorim is pushing for Paulinho, and Paulinho is pushing for Sporting because he's a plug and play guy. Okay, he knows the system, he knows Ruben Amorim, he knows how to play in that system. And Varandas, and especially Varandas, wants to win now. Varandas needs Sporting to win now, and Ruben Amorim also wants to win now. So Paulinho is probably the best choice now on this moment. Is he the best striker for Sporting? Probably not. He's the best striker now. I think he's going to be a plug and play guy if we bring him.
Agreed.
Chris, anything?
No, I mean, my opinion is unchanged. I think since it's going to be an inter-Portugal transfer window thing, that it can drag on longer, because I think the window is going to be later than the 31st. It usually is. It's probably like February 8th or something like that. So, yeah, I guess we're still going to have like 3 more weeks of this bullshit. So, buckle up.
Yeah, I agree. Buckle up, buddy. Buckle up. Okay, if we don't have any more
Sorry,
comments,
Steph.
go ahead.
I've got 3 more things to talk about.
Of course.
And I'll ask the group. Jovan is apparently being linked to teams in England, and Sporting would accept an offer of 10 million or above. I'll give it to Danny first. Do you think that is Jovan's value, or should we hold out for a little bit more?
I said on maybe, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I've said Jovan is gone regardless if we get anybody or not. I think he's as good as sold. The only thing that was making me question it a bit is Plata maybe being loaned out. I don't know if that's confirmed yet or not, or
No,
but
nothing confirmed.
I really hope that Sporting, if we do loan out Plata, we at least have the sense to keep Jovan. If we sell Jovan, for the love of God, keep Plata, because, you know, second half of the season is starting. We need as many players as possible. I don't care, and I know we're not in Europe and Taça Portugal. We still need players that can come off the bench, because COVID, regardless, is still a thing, and it could very well affect, a lot of players. If 1 week we're out of Tiago Tomás, Sporar, and Pote and Nuno Santos, who's going to replace them? So I just hope Sporting have the sense, but I'm pretty sure I've been saying it for a while. I think Jovan's as good as gone, and 10 million, that's a disgrace. But that's Varandas for you.
Okay, Tigas, would you accept 10 million for Jovan?
I personally wouldn't accept 10 millions for Jovan. I think Jovan will be sold by the price Braga wants for Paulinho. Not a cent less, not a cent more.
That's a great
That's what I think.
Steph, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tigers on this one. I think we against the wall with the COVID-19. We're not making any revenue with the fans. The stadiums are empty. Financially, we're struggling. That's why we laid off 20 employees. That's why I'm pissed at Elodie, Renan, all these pieces of shit players, because they're not willing to be understanding and go to another club to help the club. They feel like they're being screwed by the club. But I agree with Tigers. I think it'll be the same. Whatever Paulinho costs, that's how Giovanni will be sold, so we can pay for Paulinho.
Cool. Chris, you take 10 million for Jovan?
Yeah, but I to be honest, I'm skeptical. Like West Ham, a team that is like fringe relegation. Like, is this the guy? I mean, has he done literally anything to justify that price tag this season? I'm just skeptical of English clubs, like English Championship clubs, maybe, but like I don't know, man. Like, do Premier League clubs really want him that bad? Like, I feel like if they didn't want him when he was peak Jovan, like at the end of last season, he scored all those goals in a row. Everyone was like, "Oh shit!" And then it was like that's when he was really linked to England, and nothing happened then. It's gone a lot downhill since then. So to be honest, I'm skeptical that any team will pay 10 mil. But if they do happen to offer 10 mil, I would accept it.
Okay, cool. There's just two more news. I'll run through one quickly, and that's Sporting clarified there's no interest in the Mexican striker Santiago Muñoz. So our goal film dream isn't coming true.
Shit.
And last thing, which Danny reminded me of, so I'm going to pass it to you first, Danny. Sporting Braga president Antonio Salvador has said that Sporting have fulfilled every payment for Ruben Amorim. We do not owe any more money. Is that because of Paulinho? And what are your thoughts on that news story?
I think that has more to do with Lazio paying us for Pedro Neto. Maybe they were like, "Hey, Braga, here's your money, bro." I don't know. I don't know.
We paid Ruben with Lazio money.
we gave Braga the money Lazio was supposed to give them.
Yeah, that's a good deal for us.
Sounds good to me, yeah.
I mean, at least we're finally paying off that debt.
Yeah, no, I think what they said was because I read the piece of news, Sam, and what they said is we are on time paying what we owe. We haven't paid everything.
Yeah. So how much do you think we paid so far?
Yeah,
like 3 mil of the 14.
It doesn't matter, but we on time.
I'll say at least 40%. Yeah, at least.
Okay, you think we paid like 7 mil? All right.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that's all I've got, Steph. So if you wanna carry on with what you had,
sounds good. So now, so this is the time that we put Mr. Tigas in a hot seat. So I have some questions for him. So just like ESPN, he's on the hot seat. And
I should have been drinking like Danny and Sam.
So I have a couple questions for him, and hopefully you guys also have a couple questions for him. So I'll go first because I am prepared. I was born prepared since 1972, and here we go. So Tigas, when did you become a Sportingista?
That's a tough question because I actually don't remember. My mother is from Sporting, but she didn't care much about football. So my mother's family was Sporting. My father didn't care about football, and he's from Beira Alta, from a small town near Viseu. And when he came to Lisbon with 12 years old, he went to see games in Restelo So Belenenses, not to be sad, Belenenses. And I think my influence from Sporting and the guy who really pushed me to be from Sporting was the boyfriend of my upstairs neighbor.
Oh,
he was in the army, and he was a Sporting fan. And my uptown neighbor was Benfiquista, and was always trying to push me to taking me to Benfica, and he didn't let that happen. So he was always on his back telling me very good things about Sporting. And then I guess the influence with my mother and with him ended up with me being from Sporting.
Oh, that's awesome. I feel you. That's
I'm not the typical fan who the father took to the games early age and made him socio from the beginning of his life. No, I'm not that typical fan, sort of say.
No, that's a beautiful story. I mean, from a military, I'm in the military, so that comes from the heart. Next question: who was the biggest influence? I mean, you kind of said that, so never mind. When did you become such an expert without modalities?
First of all, I don't think I'm an expert, but I think it has to do with my youth. I was born in '78, so I grew up in the '80s, and the backside of my building didn't have any traffic, and there were a lot of kids of my age on my street, and we spent the afternoons there playing everything that we could. We get a ball of volleyball, we played volleyball. We get a ball of basketball, we played basketball. We didn't have any hoops, so we improvised. Once my dad made some hockey sticks from a broom stick, and with a piece of metal on the end, and we play hockey. We played tennis. We played anything. So I think my love for the sports comes from there. Growing up, playing a lot of things. Then I played soccer. I actually played soccer on my hometown club, which was called Massamá.
Nice.
I'm from Queluz, and Queluz and Massamá Stadium were like 50 meters apart. 20 meters, I don't know. That's a real derby, you know. They were almost face to face.
No, that's awesome.
That's it.
Nice.
Out of all the modalities, which you always do an extremely great job, because I listen to Sporting160 podcasts all the time. If it's not live, a couple days later, because of my schedule and 5 years difference, 5 hours difference. Which one was the most memorable game that you ever recalled?
That I've watched live?
Live or even on TV, the one that had a big impact of all the modalities that you said, wow, what a great game. This game was phenomenal. I'll never forget it.
For me, it was the only game I cried. I couldn't saw it because I was working. Like I said, before the program starts, my wife is a Porto fan, but she went to see it because we met each other at volleyball. I was a player and coordinator of volleyball at my college, and she was a player on the women's team. And she went to see the finals where we were champions in volleyball when we returned with the sport with Bruno Carvalho. And the last game against Benfica where we won, where Dennis scored the final point, I was at work. I went with my daughter. I took my daughter to work, and I cried there. I was so nervous when Dennis scored the final point. It was a game that could have gone either way. Benfica had an awesome team. We had awesome players, and Benfica were a better team than us, I think. But we managed to get it, and the nerves just exploded. So for me, that was the most memorable game from the Modalities that I saw.
Okay. Now, your favorite player of all times, and this, of course, you could include also the football team.
That's a tough one, man. That's a really tough one. From the ones that are playing, my favorite player is Frankish from handball. I think he's a phenomenal player. He has a lot of class. He's a classy player. He can do it all. He can defend, he can attack, he can shoot, he can dribble, he can pass. I think he's a phenomenal player. He's probably one of my favorites. From football, the last one of my favorites because he's an awesome player. He's Bruno Fernandes. I didn't like him rescinding the contract, but he was a phenomenal player.
Okay.
All-time favorite? I don't know, man. It's a tough question. I grew up in the 80s. I saw a lot of good players, man. I saw a lot of good players. André Cruz. I saw Luizinho. Luizinho was a fantastic, phenomenal central defender. A lot of good ones, man. I can't tell. Just one.
Favorite player from the handball team?
Frankish.
Frankish Carol. Okay.
Yeah, Frankish.
No é Ruesga.
No, I think Ruesga was a great player. I think he has a great interaction with the fans. I think he came to Sporting and he quickly understood the club he was into, the atmosphere with the fans. I think he needed to connect with that, and he connected really well. And he played really well for 2 years. Then the injuries came up, but my favorite player is Frankie's. I like a lot of players from the handball team. My favorite sport is basketball. Was the one I really like, but my favorite team is the handball team.
Okay.
From Sporting, of course.
Of course. Okay, Patins, best player ever. That's a difficult one. Mine, I'm going to say to you, Remellet. Now, I'll pass the ball to you.
I don't remember them playing, okay? I'm just 42 years old. I don't remember them playing. I was a kid.
I was a kid too. I saw the games on black and white.
But Ramalhete, Livramento, Xana, all fantastic players, all time.
So correct.
All time, yeah. But for now, Gonzalo Romero, the Argentine, I think. I love him, man.
Okay. Volleyball.
Dennis. Angel Dennis.
Miguel Maia. What about you guys?
I think Miguel Maia is an awesome player.
Okay,
he's the best. Yeah, he still has the best hands in Portuguese volleyball. That's incredible. He's got 50 years old, man.
Yeah.
Okay, he still has the best hands. The physical part, well, he's 50, right?
Okay, so this is my last question for you, and I don't know if my boys they have any other questions for you, but this is my last one for you. Your all-time favorite president of Sporting Clube de Portugal.
I think that's easy for me because, like I said, I was born in '78. I don't remember well João Rocha, but Bruno Carvalho, of course.
Okay, good. That's my choice as well. Danny, any questions for TIGAS?
Yeah. I don't watch enough of Modalities. I'm a casual at best, but I have enjoyed this basketball team that started up about 2 years ago now. My question to you is, what do you think? Do you think we necessarily need, or what kind of piece do you think we need to add to really guarantee us the title this year, or if we even need one at all?
Yeah, I think we need, because Porto injured. Max Land is injured his knee again. Well, it's the other knee.
Yeah.
But they replaced him really well with Jalen Riley. Benfica replaced the Americans, 2 of the Americans they had. They brought better players, so I think we need to reinforce our team as well. Micah Downs, as you probably know, is being linked to Sporting. I think he has already signed, because his Instagram account is always tweeting. He's always putting stories about Sporting. Come on, guys! Nice first quarter and everything. He even put he even put Simba, Lion Cup. Yeah, we need to reinforce. I think we need a power forward, and I think Micah Downs will play as a power forward in Sporting. And probably, I would have swapped Shakir Smith for another guard. I think that could ensure us. I wouldn't say ensure us. I think that would put us a step ahead of the other two competitors, because Oliveirense is a strong team also, and Norberto Alves is a very good coach. Okay, he's like very similar to Luís Magalhães. Okay, he reads the game really well on the bench. He's one of the coaches who can introduce some changes on the game that really matters. But I don't think Oliveirense has the same players to win a playoff series like they had before. So I think Benfica and Porto is going to be our top competitors. Probably Benfica ahead of Porto with these reinforcements that they have, Bryce Alford and Quincy Miller. And I think we need to reinforce our team as well.
My last question on Modalities is going to stick with basketball. It's sort of on the vein of what Richard Neves is here saying. For all my fellow Raptor fans, he mentions Andrea Bargnani. But my question is, how far away do you think? Do you know who Andrea Bargnani is?
Oh yeah,
Maior merda que passou pelo Toronto.
My wife has family in Toronto. I was.
Oh, okay, nice.
Nós tentámos ir a Toronto várias vezes, mas não conseguimos. I'm a Bulls fan. I wanted to go to Toronto to meet her family, to see the city, and then I wanted to go to Chicago to watch a game at the United Center.
Nice.
I'm sorry, but I also love Toronto.
Yeah,
I also love Toronto. I love what you guys have there with Masai Ujiri. I think they are an awesome organization. And I know Bargnani because I play fantasy in Yahoo Fantasy.
Yeah.
And Bargnani was a thing on Yahoo Fantasy years ago.
Maybe he was only good on fantasy because in real life he was garbage.
Yeah.
But
it happens a lot of time.
Yeah, it does. Even in soccer per se. My question is, how far away do you think Sporting is from getting a former NBA? I won't even say a star, but a former NBA player to Portugal, if that's even a possibility.
I don't know, because Benfica got a lot of ex-NBA players. You got this season they got Quincy Miller. Last season they got Ture Murray, and some other seasons before they got a lot of guys. Daquan Cook.
Yeah, Daquan Cook. Yeah.
And I don't even remember the others. These are just the latest. I don't think Sporting is gonna get an ex-NBA guy. I really don't.
Yeah.
That's my honest question. I don't know what else to.
No, fair.
Because
fair.
That's good.
We're cheap.
I think Luis Magalhães. Sticks a lot with what he wants. He doesn't go out for names. Okay, I want that kind of player with that characteristics, and I think he battles to get that.
Fair.
When he can battle for that.
For sure.
Okay,
I'll pass it off to you guys now.
Chris, any questions?
You're on mute.
So between the basketball team, the handball team, futsal team, I think those are the only three. I'm not sure about hockey and patins. Between those three and the European competition that they're all in respectively. So now Sporting's into the round of 16 of the UEFA futsal. The FIBA Europe Cup for basketball is next week, and then the handball European League that Sporting's been playing in has been ongoing, and they're probably going to qualify, but not perform that great. I guess basically my question is then, what are your expectations for each of these competitions for Sporting?
That's a good question. I think if I'm going to start with basketball, I think if Micah Down came to Sporting, or if he really signed Micah Down, I think we're going to attack the first two spots on the group of the FIBA Europe Cup. After that,
do you think he'll be here by next week?
I don't know. I don't think he isn't in Portugal yet.
Okay.
So I don't know. If he can be here and if we can play him in the FIBA Europe Cup, I think we're going to attack the first two spots of the group. And then after that, we qualify for the next round. And I don't know. That's going to be game by game. The handball team, I think we can qualify as well in the first four. I don't know in which position because the team has been very unreliable. Okay, either we do a great game or we do a bad game, and even in the same game we do a portion which is very good and the other is very bad. So I don't know in which spot we are going to end, but I think we are going to qualify in the first four spots because now we have I think 6 points. I think 6 points in. We have 2 games less, 2 games against the last team, which is Tatan Prezov from Slovakia. I think we're going to win both games easily, so we can make the top positions in the group, and we can qualify for the next round. Yeah, probably Fuchs Berlin first, then Nîmes, and then us, and then Kristianstad fighting with Dinamo Bucharest for the final spot. In futsal, I don't think we are going to be able to qualify for the final four this year. I think we are missing some pieces. The Spanish team are very strong. The Russian teams have invested a lot. They are very strong also. Then you have the Kazakhstan. Well, it's going to be tough this year to beat the Final Four. If we did that, I think it would be a miracle. Okay, Patins. You said you also asked about Hockey Patins.
Yeah.
Well,
are they playing in Europe?
The competition is suspended.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we ever going to be resumed again, but it's suspended for now. I think they asked the countries, the teams from the countries, do you want to play or not? And they only got teams from Spain, Portugal, and
Italy.
Yeah, and one team from Italy. Only one team from Italy wanted to play. So no French teams, no Switzerland teams, no Germany teams. So they are still figuring out if they can resume the competition.
Got it. Okay, I guess one more question, because I actually am kind of confused about this.
Shoot.
So for Liga Revelação, since Sporting didn't qualify for the championship round, they're into like a secondary group. Is there any way for them to get into a playoff or something, or are they just playing games for fun now, basically?
The under-23 team?
Yeah.
From soccer? I don't know. Sorry.
Out of the scope.
I
thought that was in your window. Yeah, I don't really get it either. It seems like their games are just for fun now.
So it's basically it's a secondary league, and you could be demoted. So
you can be demoted on the under-23 team.
Parece que sim, é Liga de Despromoção. So
they have I didn't even know they had. I didn't even know they had a second league of it.
But they also called a Taça Revelação. So I'm confused as well.
I think that's just to give an exciting name on something that doesn't really matter that much. Taça Revelação.
Yeah, I get because Porto and Sporting and Benfica got demoted too.
Yeah, Benfica didn't make it either. Yeah.
No, yeah. But let's take into account that team is based on the under 15, under 17, and under 18 players, because all the other players went to the B squad no Campeonato Portugal. Sam, do you have any questions for our guest?
Yeah, I have a few. The first one, I just want to say I'm really impressed with your English. How did you learn it?
Speak the truth. Come on.
No, honestly. Did you teach yourself, or did you have lessons, or did it just was something that you picked up?
Well, here in school we have English almost from the 5th grade to the 12th grade, so it's a lot of years. Then, for instance, in Germany, in France, and Italy, they double all the foreign films and series that they pass on TV. Here we don't. We use the English or the French, whatever the original is, and then we subtitle it in Portuguese. So I think we pick up a lot of things.
Okay, cool. The next question I had, in terms of like sporting shirts like this or any of the other modalities shirts, do you have a favorite one in like your watching sporting, like your favorite design of shirt or favorite type of shirt that Sporting have released?
I liked one handball had probably large few years ago, which was green and black. The stripes instead of white were black, and the numbers were in gold. It was a very beautiful shirt. I think Rugby had one also like this, very similar, but the handball, that shirt from handball was awesome, man. Awesome.
Okay. And I heard you said you're a Bulls fan. I'm also a Bulls fan as well. Maybe for the last 4 years is a bad thing to admit, but who's your favorite Bulls player at the moment, and who excites you the most?
Levine, man.
Yeah.
I think Levine should have been an all-star last season.
Yeah.
On the East, and I think he will probably end up as an Hall of Famer. I grew up watching the Bulls from Jordan. Okay, Jordan, Pippen. I watched the three-peat, both of them.
Nice.
So I'm very excited with practical rhythms. I think Carniçovas had a nice pick there. He's very raw. But I can see a lot of growth on him, and I think he's going to develop into a very fine player.
Yeah, I agree. And sorry, carry on.
I was going to say I don't like Kobe White. I'm sorry.
Oh, why not?
Overrated. I agree.
No.
Overrated.
I don't like Kobe White.
And my last question was, who do you have winning the NBA this year? And don't say the Lakers or the Nets, because one of our favorite commenters. Yeah,
Mundo de Leão wanted me to say the Nets, but I'm not going to say the Nets. I think that when it matters the most, Kyrie, Harden, and Durant. I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. It may work on the pitch, but not on the locker room. Okay.
Yeah.
Without the Lakers and the Nets.
No, you can pick the Lakers and the Nets if you want.
I think the Lakers are favorite, obviously. Okay, LeBron, Anthony Davis, they brought Schroeder, they brought Wesley Matthews for defense. A lot of good guys. They have so much depth in the roster, so I think the Lakers are the favorite. I don't think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to get there. I'm sorry.
No.
They have an awesome coach, but Giannis can't shoot.
No.
Yeah.
You need shooters, man.
Yeah.
And Drew Holiday's not enough.
Yeah.
He's a better defender than he is a ball shooter.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I actually love a guy from Toronto, which is Van Vliet. I think he's awesome. And I also like Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
He's good. I would love them to see in Bulls jersey. Sorry.
maybe Lowry. I don't know about Van Vliet. Van Vliet signed up now.
Yeah.
Maybe Lowry.
We can always trade for him.
Please
Kobe White. Kobe White.
Kobe White?
No.
Yeah, why not?
No.
Kobe White and Cristiano. Kobe White and Cristiano.
Felicio.
Felicio. Awesome player. You need a center, man.
We need a center. Yeah, we bought two. They're garbage. Any more, Sam?
No, that was my final question. That one.
You good? Okay. So here comes the highlight of our podcast. TIGAS, the floor is yours, my friend, about modalities.
Okay. Bear with me because I'm going to have to read a little bit more. Okay. So let's get right into it. The basketball team played 2 games this week. On the 14th round of the national championship, Sporting received in Pavilhão João Rocha Galitos and won by 99-61. This was a game that was decided on the first quarter. Sporting won 16 rebounds, got 5 steals and 9 assists, and finished the quarter on a 32-5 run. From here till the end, the subs were given a lot of minutes, and we saw a fight between the centers Cláudio Fonseca and Rosel Nix, with the Portuguese finishing with 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 88% from the free throw line. On the weekend, we went to Maia and got the win against Maia for 95-71, a game much like the last, with a dominant first quarter from Sporting, who rely heavily on the paint and on the offensive rebound. We ended the game with 51 rebounds, 16 offensive rebounds, and did 23 assists and 22 turnovers. Maia got back on the scoreboard a little bit when we rotated the team, and Cláudio Fonseca was again awesome with 17 points and 15 rebounds. Field added another 18 points and 7 boards, and Travante and Alisson had 14 points each. 15 wins in 15 games. In women's soccer, Sporting got a draw against Famalicão, 2-2, on the first round of the second phase of the national championship. After what happened, I considered this was a good draw. Famalicão was the leader of the North Zone, and on the first phase of the championship, and got a lot of help from the referees on this game. Remember when Polga was awarded with a penalty against Marítimo for a foul committed outside the penalty area? Well, it happened again. And with this, Famalicão was winning 2-0 at the break. On the second half, the Lioness fought really hard and got the draw with 2 goals from Nevena Damjanovic. On the women's futsal, 2 games on the last weekend. The Saturday, we played the 6th round against Golpilheira away and got the win by 4-1, with goals scored from Cláudia, Cristiana Lima, and Ana Alves. And on the Sunday, with the 7th round, we lost in João Rocha against Quinta dos Lombos 5-9. with a poker from Ana Alves and a single goal from Claudio Dias. Sporting finished the first phase with a defeat and will now fight to stay in the first division. This is something unthinkable. On men's futsal, we had 2 games also, one for the national championship against the Quinta dos Lombos in Pavilhão João Rocha. We won by 4-0. Sporting dominated from the very beginning, pushing Quinta dos Lombos to their own area, but there wasn't enough space to play, and it was Guita with a missile from far away who opened the score. From here until the end, Sporting continued to dominate, although we struggle with the finishes, and not even the 5-against-4 from Quinta dos Lombos on the final minutes worked out. Guita, Tainan, Cardinal, and Pani Varela all scored 1 goal. On the UEFA Champions League, last 32, Sporting received in Pavilhão João Rocha Futsal Gentoft from Denmark and won 12-1. One-way game with Sporting pushing the Danish to their own area all the time. No matter what 4 players were on the court, we were always very dominant and pressing. On the negative side, Tainan got hurt, and I suspect it's really bad injury. And Tomás Passoc, Cavinato, Cardinal all scored 2 goals. Ziki, Eric, Mamadou, Paulette, and Pani Varela all scored 1. On the women's roller hockey, we played the last 16 in the Portuguese Cup, and we won against Gul Pilares, 11-1. 2 goals in the first minutes show what the game really was. A big win with 2 goals from Rita Lopes, Sofia Boncóvio, Maggie Florencio, and Ana Catarina Ferreira, and 1 goal from Adriana Costa, Inês Florencio, and Ruth Lopes. On the men's roller hockey, we got a defeat. We went to play against Oliveirense at Oliveira das Meias, and we lost 3-1 on the 15th round of the national championship. And Sporting played without Romero, and Sporting is in the same team without Romero. Oliveirense was on the top of the game, and Sporting was committing a lot of fouls. And this, for me, was a decisive because Oliveirense won 3-1 with an hat-trick from Lucas Martinez on free kicks and penalties. If Barcelos wins next Wednesday, we will lose the first position on the championship to them. On men's volleyball, we went to Esmoriz. We got the win by 3-1 with 25-18 on the first set, 23-25, 23-25, and 14-25. I think Sporting was very inconsistent receiving the ball and serving. And during the first 2 sets, we couldn't block anything. When we started blocking it, the Esmoriz attackers, we started taking control of the game. And we attacked mostly through the center of the net, where Vitor Hugo got 16 points and Elio got 11. PV was our best scorer with 17 points. It was a difficult but very deserved team. Well, that's all for now. TIGAS out.
And like always, TIGAS sounds like a professional. He should be on Sporting TV, without a doubt.
Thank you.
And I have one final question for you. This one is a tough one. Your favorite female player?
From Sporting, any modality?
No, Sporting, the ladies team, soccer, football.
Soccer. Okay. I think Nevena.
Okay. That's
reminds me a lot of Jeremy Mathieu, and I like central defenders who can play ball.
The one who scored 2 goals against Famalicão.
Yeah. The Serbian player.
Yes.
He's awesome, man. Have you seen her shoot free kicks?
She's amazing.
Yes, he looks like Mathieu and Sinisa Mihailovic when he played for Lazio, man.
Very consistent. My favorite player is Caroline Baldwin, but maybe it's because I live in America. I don't know.
We also got Sharon. I think she went away from Sporting this season. Sharon was also a good player. I also like Caroline. There are a lot of good players. Ana Borges.
Ana Borges,
a very good player. Raquel Fernandes, Ana Capeta, obviously coming from the bench, changing the games, scoring big time.
Carolina Mendes, she's good too.
Yeah.
Good player.
Nevena for me is Nevena.
Yeah. That's a good choice, guys. Anything else? Your predictions for Boa Vista? I'll start with TIGAS.
3-1 for us.
Danny.
3-1 for us.
Chris.
I agree.
You muted, Chris.
It's tough to say without knowing if it's gonna if we're gonna win the first game against Porto and then have a second game, or if it's just gonna be only the Porto game. And if we look like shit, then it's like, does that change the math? No, but it's like if you can't beat the worst team in the league this year, I mean,
which Benfica couldn't.
2-0 Sporting.
Sam.
like Danny said, they have to be respected. They beat Benfica, you know. I mean, if they can beat Benfica, then they can beat us and they can beat anyone. But going on recent form, which I did do for Rio Ave, and it bit me in the ass. But I'm gonna go 2-0, and I'm gonna just say Sporar is probably gonna score, and Jean Mario will score a penalty.
Okay, I'm gonna give my prediction. Will be 3-0, a hat trick from Paulinho. Oh well, the real Alfred Kerensky, he said 15-0.
15-0.
I don't know if he's talking about polo aquatic, but you know.
I think he was talking about women's team.
Maybe. Yeah. Anything else, guys, or this is it?
I think we're good.
We good?
We're good.
Are we sure?
Depending
Thank
on
you,
if
TIGAS.
we beat, yeah. Thank you, TIGAS. Thank you very much.
No, thank you. It was an awesome to get an invitation from you. So thank you very much. Really.
Okay, TIGAS, from the bottom of my heart, it was a pleasure to have you on our podcast. And Viva Sporting. How about that?
Yeah.
And if
Viva
you ever
Sporting.
do come to Toronto, a beer's on me, that's for sure.
Okay. I'll collect.
Okay. Na casa do Sporting too. There's a nice little place just behind my house. I'll show you. It's beautiful.
Awesome. And I'll even watch a Raptors game, okay?
Beautiful. Say less.
If you come down to Philly, me and Chris will take care of you with the Sixers.
Man, I love Embiid. Awesome.
Yeah,
Play.
he's good. Yeah, he's good.
You have to end